Hesi A2 Anatomy and Physiology Practice Test 2025. Question 1. The muscular tube that connects the pharynx to the stomach and passes through the diaphragm is the what? Trachea, esophagus, ureter, duodenum. The esophagus is the muscular tube from pharynx to stomach passing through diaphragm, esophageal hiatus. Trachea is airway, ureter carries urine, duodenum is first part of small intestine. Question 2. Which type of white blood cell is most abundant in a healthy adult and is the first responder to bacterial infection? Lymphocyte, monocyte, eosinophil, neutrophil. Neutrophils are 50 to 70% of WBCs and first to arrive at bacterial infections via chemotaxis. Lymphocytes mediate adaptive immunity, monocytes become macrophages, eosinophils fight parasites. Question 3. The small hair-like projections on the apical surface of epithelial cells in the respiratory tract that move mucus are called what? Microvilli, cilia, flagella, stereocilia. Cilia are hair-like structures that beat rhythmically to move mucus in respiratory tract. Microvilli increase absorption surface, intestine, flagella are long for cell movement, sperm, stereocilia are long microvilli in ear. Question 4. Which hormone released by the posterior pituitary increases water reabsorption in the kidneys? Oxytocin, prolactin, ADH, vasopressin, aldosterone. ADH, vasopressin, increases water reabsorption in kidney collecting ducts. Oxytocin stimulates uterine contraction/milk ejection, prolactin stimulates milk production, aldosterone, adrenal, increases sodium reabsorption. Question 5. The longest and strongest bone in the human body is which of the following? Tibia, fibula, humerus, femur. The femur, thigh bone, is the longest and strongest bone. Tibia is shin bone but shorter/weaker, fibula is thin lower leg bone, humerus is upper arm bone. Question 6. The sarcomere, the functional unit of skeletal muscle contraction, extends from one Z disc to which structure? M-line, H-zone. The next Z disc? A-band. A sarcomere extends from one Z disc to the next Z disc. M-line is midline of sarcomere, H-zone is central area, A-band is length of thick filaments, none define the sarcomere ends. Question 7. Which cells in the central nervous system act as phagocytes to remove debris and pathogens? Astrocytes, oligodendrocytes, ependymal cells, microglia. Microglia are CNS-resident macrophages that phagocytose debris and pathogens. Astrocytes support neurons/BBB, oligodendrocytes myelinate, ependymal cells produce CSF. Question 8. The correct sequence of the conducting system of the heart is which of the following? AV node SA node bundle of his Purkinje fibers. SA node AV node bundle of his Purkinje fibers. SA node bundle of his AV node Purkinje fibers. AV node bundle of his SA node Purkinje fibers. SA node, pacemaker, AV node, delay, bundle of his Purkinje fibers, ventricular contraction. Any other order disrupts proper sequential activation. Question 9. The term homeostasis refers to the body's ability to do what? Produce energy from food. Maintain a stable internal environment. Fight off infections. Reproduce and grow. Homeostasis is maintenance of a stable internal environment, temperature, pH, glucose, etc. Energy production is metabolism, fighting infection is immunity, reproduction/growth are developmental. Question 10. Which organ produces the majority of plasma proteins including albumin and clotting factors? Kidneys, spleen, liver, bone marrow. The liver synthesizes most plasma proteins, albumin, clotting factors, complement, etc. Kidneys produce EPO/renin, spleen filters blood, bone marrow produces blood cells not plasma proteins. Question 11. The membrane that lines the abdominal cavity and covers the abdominal organs is called the what? Pleura, peritoneum, pericardium, meninges. Peritoneum is serous membrane lining abdominal cavity and covering organs. Pleura is thoracic, lungs, pericardium surrounds heart, meninges cover brain/spinal cord. Question 12. In skeletal muscle contraction calcium ions are released from which organelle? Sarcolemma, sarcoplasmic reticulum, T-tubules, myofibril. The sarcoplasmic reticulum stores and releases calcium ions to initiate contraction. Sarcolemma is muscle cell membrane, T-tubules conduct action potentials, myofibrils contain contractile proteins. Question 13. Which part of the male reproductive system produces sperm and testosterone? Epididymis, vas deferens, testes, prostate gland. Testes produce sperm, seminiferous tubules, and testosterone, Leydig cells. Epididymis matures/stores sperm, vas deferens transports sperm, prostate gland produces seminal fluid. Question 14. The P wave on an electrocardiogram, ECG, represents which event? Ventricular depolarization, atrial depolarization, ventricular repolarization, atrial repolarization. P wave represents atrial depolarization, contraction. QRS complex is ventricular depolarization, T wave is ventricular repolarization, atrial repolarization is hidden in QRS. Question 15. Which of the following is an example of a ball and socket joint? Elbow, knee, shoulder, wrist. Shoulder, glenohumeral, and hip are ball and socket joints, multiaxial. Elbow is hinge, knee is modified hinge, wrist is condyloid/ellipsoid. Question 16. The layer of the heart wall that is composed of cardiac muscle and is responsible for contractions is the what? Epicardium, myocardium, endocardium, pericardium. Myocardium is the thick muscular middle layer responsible for contractions. Epicardium is outer layer, visceral pericardium, endocardium lines chambers, pericardium is the sac. Question 17. The hormone melatonin which regulates circadian rhythms is secreted by which gland? Pineal gland, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, adrenal gland. Pineal gland secretes melatonin in response to darkness to regulate sleep-wake cycles. Pituitary is master gland, thyroid regulates metabolism, adrenal produces stress hormones. Question 18. Which structure of the inner ear contains the organ of Corti responsible for hearing? Semicircular canals, vestibule, cochlea, tympanic membrane. Cochlea contains organ of Corti for hearing. Semicircular canals detect rotational balance, Vestibule detects linear acceleration/gravity. Tympanic membrane is eardrum, middle ear. Question 19. After blood leaves the right ventricle, it passes through the pulmonary valve and then into which vessel? Aorta. Pulmonary vein. Pulmonary artery. Superior vena cava. Right ventricle pumps deoxygenated blood through pulmonary valve into pulmonary artery to lungs. Aorta receives blood from left ventricle. Pulmonary veins bring oxygenated blood to left atrium. Superior vena cava returns blood to right atrium. Question 20. The breakdown of glycogen into glucose 6-phosphate in the liver is a process known as what? Glycogenesis. Glycogenolysis. Gluconeogenesis. Glycolysis. Glycogenolysis breaks down glycogen into glucose 6-phosphate. Glycogenesis is glycogen synthesis. Gluconeogenesis makes glucose from non-carbohydrates. Glycolysis breaks glucose into pyruvate.